Erev Tov Rabotai, we are continuing with our Mishna Yomi, Masechet Yevamot. We are up to Perek Daled Mishnah Gimel. Today's Mishnah should be Le'ilun Nishmad Neria ben Svetlana, Aranbai, Eliyahu ben Burcha Israelo, ben Chana bat Miriam, Menuchatam began Eden, Amen, and Ravdi ben Chaim Nechaim, v'derefua Shanemav, Daniel Shalom ben Rosa, v'tor Shah Chulei Israel. The next two Mishnah deal mainly with the monetary rights of the Yavam and Yevamah. Mishnah 3 discusses the rights of a Yavam to the Yevamah's property before performing Yibum. In a case of an ordinary marriage, a man generally has no rights to his wife's property during the period between Kiddushin, which is betrothal, and Nisuin, the completion of marriage. However, a Mishnah in Ketubot chapter 8, Mishnah 1 records a dispute regarding a woman who inherits property during that period. Beit Shammai say that she is allowed to sell it since it is completely hers, whereas Beit Hillel say that she should not sell it since the husband expects to get rights to it after the Nisuin. Our Mishnah, which also appears in Ketubot chapter 8, Mishnah 6, begins by teaching that Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel agree with regard to a Yevamah selling property that she inherited after her husband's death, but before the Yavam married her with Yibum. Shomeret Yavam shenafla nechasim. If a woman awaiting Yibum inherited property, modim Beit Shammai Beit Hillel shemocheret venotenet vekayam. Both Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel agree that she may sell or give the property to others while awaiting Yibum and the transaction stands. Beit Hillel and Beit Shammai disagree only in regard to Kiddushin. Even Beit Hillel, however, agree that the Yibum bond the Yavam has to the Yevamah is not strong enough to prevent her from selling property she inherited while awaiting Yibum. There are two ways in which the Yibum bond is weaker than the Kiddushin bond, the commentators explain. Number one, the penalty for someone other than the husband cohabiting with the woman after Kiddushin is death, whereas the penalty for someone other than the Yibum cohabiting with the woman awaiting Yibum is only malkut lashes. And number two, a man who performs Kiddushin certainly intends to marry the woman, whereas a Yavam might decide to perform Chalitza rather than Yibum. So again, like we said, both Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel agree that she may sell or give the property to others while awaiting Yibum, and the transaction stands. Now, when a couple marries, the husband gives his wife a document called a ketubah, which details all of his obligations to her, including the amount he will pay her should he divorce her or die before her. This includes a standard payment of either 100 or 200 zuz. The Gemara speaks about it, the Mishnot speak about it in Ketubot chapter 1, Mishnot 2 through 4, plus any additional amount he commits to give her. It also includes the value of the property she brings into the marriage, where the husband guarantees to pay her the original value of this property in case he dies before her or divorces her. This property is called Nichsi Tzon Barzel, Tzon Barzel property. Now, in a Tzon Barzel, literally iron sheep arrangement, the husband takes full responsibility for the property during the marriage, so that if its value goes down or it wears out, the loss is his, and if it goes up, the gain is his. His only obligation is to repair its original value should he divorce her or die before her. A woman may choose to keep her property under her own ownership and instead let her husband use and profit from it during the marriage. Such property is called Nichse Melog property, and its value is not written into the Ketubah. And the Melog arrangement literally means plucking. The husband guarantees nothing. While he may not destroy the property, he may use it or rent it and keep the profits. When the marriage ends, the property passes back into her control as it is, and any losses or gains in value are hers. If the woman dies before the man, he inherits both the Tzon Barzel and Melog properties. The Mishnah discusses what happens to these monies and properties in a case where the Yevamah died while awaiting Yibum. Specifically, the Mishnah addresses a case where the Yavam had already performed Ma'amah with her before she died. Although the Mishnah does not say so explicitly, the Gemara in Yevamot, page 39a, according to Rav, explains the Mishnah to mean this. Meta, if a woman awaiting Yibum died after the Yavam performed Ma'amah with her, Maya asu b'chtubata, what should they do with their ketubah, the basic payment of 100 or 200 zuz, the additional amount he had committed to pay her, and the Tzon Barzel property? And what should they do with the properties that enter and leave the marriage with her, the Malog property? Does all this go to the Yavam, or does her family inherit it from her? So the opinion of Beit Shammai who addresses only the second question, what to do with the Malok property, is brought by the Mishnah first. Bet Shammai Amrim, Bet Shammai say, Yachaloku Yorshei Abal im Yorshei Av. The heirs of the husband, meaning his brother, the Yavam, divide the Malok property with the heirs of the woman's father. This is because we are not sure whether the Ma'amar gave the Yavam rights to these properties as though he had married the Yavamah, in which case he would get all of them, or whether Ma'amar did not give him such rights, in which case they would go to her family. Since Beit Shammai are uncertain who the legal heirs should be, the two possible heirs, the Yavam and the father of the Yavamah, divide the property. The opinion of Bet Hillel, who addresses both questions, what should be done with the Ketubah and Tzon Ba'ozel property, as well as what should be done with the Malok property, is the next opinion in the Mishnah. But Bet Hillel say that Ma'amar definitely gives the Yavam no such rights. The law is therefore as follows. Nechasim, the properties that are Tzon Ba'ozel Becheskatan, remain under their previous status. Now, Bet Hillel do not clarify whether their previous status is that of belonging to the husband because he had taken a degree of ownership over them by guaranteeing their value, or whether their previous status is that of belonging to the Yavamah, since she brought the property into the marriage. If their previous status was of belonging to the husband, then they now go to his hair, the Yavam. If it was of belonging to the woman, then they now go to her hair, her father or his family. As a practical matter, therefore, the Rav explains that two sides divide this property. Ketubah, the basic payment of 100 or 200 zuz, plus any extra amount he committed to pay her, becheskat Yorshei Abal, remains under its previous status of belonging to the husband's heir, since she never had any claim to that money. A woman has no right to these ketubah payments until her marriage ends, either through divorce or the death of her husband. Although the Yevamah's husband died, since she is bound to his brother for Yibum, she does not yet have a right to collect the Ketubah. And Bet Shammai agree with both of these rulings. They argue only with regard to Malok property. Nechasim, anichnasim v'yotzim, and the properties that enter and leave the marriage with her, the Malok properties, are not divided as Bet Shammai said according to Bet Hillel, b'cheskat Yorshei Av, but remain under their previous status of belonging to her father's heirs, since Bet Hillel hold that Ma'amar gives the Yavam no new rights to the Yevamah's property. A wife is certainly the owner of a Malok property. The only question is whether the Ma'amar made by the Yavam was strong enough to make him an heir to her, as his brother had been when he was married to her. Bet Hillel ruled that Ma'amar is definitely not strong enough to make him the equivalent of having been married to her. Therefore, the Yavam is surely not her heir. Rather, her father's family are her heirs. Bet Shammai are uncertain about this. Therefore, they are unsure who is her heir, her father's family or her Yavam. So according to Bet Shammai, therefore, the two divide the Melog properties. And that is then a Mishnah Gimel. Mishnah Dal teaches the legal effects of the Yavam performing Yibum with the Yavamah. Kinasa. Once the Yavam marries her, the woman awaiting Yibum, she is his wife in every respect, meaning she is his full wife. Therefore, if he does not wish to remain married to her, he frees her to marry others by giving her a get rather than chalitza. Furthermore, if he divorces her, he is allowed to remarry her, even though she was once his brother's wife. Once he marries her in Yibum, that prohibition disappears. Except that the responsibility for ketubah, should the Yavam die or divorce her, rests on the property of her first husband rather than on the property of the Yavam. When a man performs Yibum with his brother's widow, he inherits all his brother's property, as we will see in Mishnah 7, Bli Neder. The Yavamah does not collect the ketubah promised by her first husband unless her marriage to the Yavam ends. Her rights to collect her ketubah are only from the properties left by the deceased brother, which are now owned by her new husband. However, the Rav explains, if the first husband left no property, the Yavam must give her a ketubah of her own. And that is the Nabotai of today's Mishna Yomi. Baruch Adonai Leolam. Amen v'amen.